이게 어떤 방향으로 가는가 이렇게 이야기를 하겠습니다. Let me first describe what I think about the first two APAP, because I think this is a remarkable achievement that I would like to respect and pay attention and to continue the precedents we have established. And from seeing the presentation by Mr. Kyong and Kim Sung-won, it's clear that there is a kind of established a kind of evolution between all these projects. Certainly that the city itself is a very major focus. There's a great deal of concern about the rapid development of Anyang, especially Pyeongchang, and how art could become some kind of an instrument to, let's say, the most popular interest is how to make Anyang city a livable place, how to make Anyang city a beautiful place. These are words often used by the government officials, the news media, and also people for themselves. What I feel about is that why that these two words, livable and beautiful city, is often used is because perhaps that there is some quiet recognition that these two issues are not prevalent enough in Anyang at the moment, and they need to be brought forth more strongly, and that APAP is a project that the citizens and the city hopefully to bring that forth. Now, I think this is true, and I think Anyang, like many other Korean cities, have suffered traumatic transformations. It's my common thought that 95% of buildings in Korea is probably less than 35 years old. So you can imagine that how one can see complete change of the city and the physical landscape within your own time is psychologically a very traumatic experience. So I think there's a desire for Anyang and Korean society in general to have a more consistent and sustainable physical environment that can also support such a kind of social and personal existence to become more stable. Korean society works more than any other nations in developed or almost developed economy in the world, and also because of in general to international standards, that we have very little public urban spaces, public parks within the city. Partly the reason for that is the rapid development of the city. And in relatively speaking, into international standards, that Korean cities are not planned in organized, systematic way, in my opinion. Actually, the rapid informal development early period still lingered on officially, and all of these things combined, we have a very schizophrenic, hyperactive society that is overworked and environmentally stressed out, basically. And we have really no time to take rest, like Italians who take maybe 5 weeks, the French may take 6 weeks, official vacation a year. Instead, we have to resort to the bunk culture where we have 30 minutes of vacation every day if you can find. we eat lunch and dinner in 30 minutes, where the Spaniards take lunch for 2 to 3 hours, and plus they, whatever, it continues. So there is a connection between kind of hyperactive schizophrenic social mentality that we have, which really contradict a great deal with the, let's say, Korean traditional view that we are quiet, humble, rural origin. And this conflict has not been resolved. And so this is partly the reason, not completely the reason and purpose of the first two projects, but it's something, it's a very minor thing, I think, for us to think about. But now that I'm basically giving the simultaneous translator stressed out because I promised her that I would be reading written text. Instead, I'm just kind of mumbling on about some silly stuff, right? So maybe now to keep her more happy, I will read something I wrote very briefly. And that is basically how I can kind of look from as an outsider coming into the Anyang and the AP history, and to, let's say, simplify, have a simple view of the structure, how it behaved. This is almost like me being a young student, let's say. And the first two APs were projects that excelled in the making and placing various outstanding artworks of international and national contribution within the context of city, bringing national attention and recognition of Anyang as an art city. This is a political statement, obviously. Try to make everybody happy, right? So I could eat lunch with them afterwards. AP 2005 was a park. I'm making a very simplified version, Mr. Lee here. Made a place for people to visit and view art in basically an enclosed space, although that it integrates with the creek and into the mountains, and also the what was originally a tourist area based on the swimming area from the creek. But it is essentially kind of an enclosed space. Therefore, it functions really like a museum, but an outdoor one. The AP 2005 Art Park, in fact, states that, also marked the end of a city and the beginning of the nature. A bridge that punctuates the boundary that really typically defines most Korean cities. The boundary between a city and the mountains. Right? And this is why that AP 2005 really integrated along the creek for the same reason, because the creek is what breaks the boundary, and it leads basically the Koreans who go up to the mountains often to get away from the city. By providing a definitive destination and a concentrated location to view numerous artworks, AP 2005 provided a place and opportunity for people to temporarily escape the city and find time and space to contemplate, similar to the creekside resorts or temples in the mountains further in. Okay, so, okay, maybe I should show you what I mean. Sorry.